you doing Crumbles and then Beauty Bites, that in between is where most people stop. What made you say, no, I'm going?
Ego. I realized that I can't be rolling protein balls for the rest of my life and in a commercial kitchen, and I wanted to scale it up. We launched the range and it failed. I have a lot of people that have possibly come across who I am recently, and they don't see the journey that it's taken for me to build the businesses up to where they are. Everything I'm doing, obviously, sure, yeah, I'd love to create generational wealth for my children. If their mum wants to be a CEO of 3 businesses, she can. My fertility specialist say,
did they really ask you that?
Mm-hmm.
Women who are sitting there right now and they want the babies and they want the business, do you think it's possible? So I had this idea of pivoting the conversation to more what it means to be a mum and business and succeeding in life, because there is this thing that we're told that, like, you know, you can do it all. And what does all mean for women? And that is having your own autonomy, money, whatever. And I was like, who am I going to talk to? And ever since I started this podcast, it's been you. Because not only have you done it, but you've done it despite things.
Yeah.
And that is the story that's not told because it's glamorized.
Yeah.
Before we get into like the businesses and like, I'm in awe, honestly, I'm in awe because I can't do this. But how did you grow up? What makes you?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, recently I've been diagnosed with ADHD and ASD. And so much of my life as a child makes sense now. But I struggled. I hated school. I never felt like I belonged. And I was really sporty. And I did a lot of sport.
What symptoms did you have? Not symptoms, that's not the right words, but what showed up as a child?
Just the hyperactivity, the inability to focus properly, the constant feeling of not belonging, sensory issues that were never picked up. And I guess the more I've done research, it's women are such high maskers. And my brother was diagnosed with ADHD.
No.
And I wasn't. And I just went under the radar until I had my second child, and I just went into this huge task paralysis. I couldn't do anything. My life just seemed, I had really bad postpartum depression, and I just seemed like everything was out of control. And I was speaking to a friend and she's like, I honestly think that you need to go get assessed for ADHD, because she'd been through it. And I went and saw this incredible specialist that actually had HG therapist.
Oh my God.
So she instantly knew. I instantly connected. And she's like, yeah.
I have these moments where I'm like, I would probably be diagnosed if I went. But at the same time, I'm like, what would they do? Do they give you something? Do they tell you it's okay?
I'm on medication.
Okay.
And
has it changed?
Massively. My whole entire life has changed. I can focus. So I'm on short release medication. So I love my brain. I love it so much.
That's why I'm like,
and
stay away from me.
I didn't want it to change me. And my therapist was like, honey, it's not going to change you. It's going to give you the ability to focus and get things done in the right way. But since being diagnosed with ADHD and going on medication, my autism went. It was so, because my ADHD brain was finally calm and all of my autistic traits started really being quite prominent. And so that's why
what's coming up?
Restrictive behaviors. I have to have things shut. I have to use specific utensils, forks, spoons. Sensory issues became really heightened. My routine, I never thrived off routine because of my ADHD brain. And then when that was calm and settled, the disruption that when I wasn't in routine and how it had an impact on my life, it just became...
The cabinet's closing. I have this feeling like it's almost like you're going to explode internally if someone doesn't do the thing. When I lock into that kind of... I don't know what it is, but it's so intense. Why is it showing up so much in people now? Do you think we've always had it, or do you think it's food, or because you are
well, it's a genetic...
the queen of
the food.
Food,
I guess health and well-being has such an impact, but it is genetic. My mum is neurodivergent.
And I feel like a lot of brilliant people are.
Well, I love that part of me.
Yeah.
And I think it's such a strength of mine. I mean, I have 3 businesses. The writing was on the wall. I can't believe I didn't actually think, oh, maybe I have ADHD. But yeah, I think it's just the ability to understand the way that I am, and me not, this feeling of never fitting in is actually not because I don't fit in. It's just the way that my brain is wired. and how it responds. So I think it gave me an understanding, okay, well, I've never felt like I've belonged in social settings, and this is the reason why.
I had these moments where, I don't know if you have it too, where you are doing a parenting day and you're also supposed to be working or something. And I literally feel like my brain is on fire trying to focus on my son showing me something. He's 4. My daughter is doing whatever. She's 1. And I'm also thinking about this email that I'm supposed to be doing. And I don't know if that's just a parenting, like it feels like a bonfire in the brain. And I'm like, why can I not do that thing that I saw like adults do, like boom, boom, play with cars? Like I cannot do it. I don't know why. I don't know whether it's, I heard Gabor Mate say that it's because, you know, you weren't sometimes parented like that. Or do you find it easy to just
No, I never used to.
Right.
I always struggled. I would find myself so depleted with work that I would come home after work and be like, I just need to chill out on the couch and just get my dopamine hit by scrolling. And then I'd have to force myself to make a conscious effort to be like, okay, we're not on our phones until the kids go to sleep. And then when I became medicated, I actually became more present and more level-headed and grounded and less overstimulated because I had something to finally quieten down the multiple conversations in my head. I always say my brain thinks so much faster than I can speak, and I always stumble my words. And being on the short release allows me at work to get things done, organize my thoughts in my head, and then it wears off. And I've, have the brain
that you know and are used to. Sometimes I try and slow down. Not that I'm self-diagnosing at all. We probably have a myriad of different personality types and traits that we have. But sometimes I'm like, okay, just lock in, play with your kids. You're not at work right now. You're not doing this. And my brain's like, dun, 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 dun. It's all over the place. It's so
It's
hard.
also, I mean, you probably are neurodivergent, but I think it's also, I speak to so many women, and it's just mothers in particular. It's the mental load. Throw in business and work, not getting any time to fill your cup up. Of course, your brain is not going to be able to be like, I'm going to go and get some paint out and do arts and crafts with the kids.
Because everything has a goal in mind. Like, we are going to do this painting by this time. Like, when it's not
It's the rushing that I feel guilty about. It's the rushing. It's, okay, we've got to hurry up. Why? Where do we have to be? We literally are on the weekend. We have nothing. We have nowhere to be.
It's wild.
It's really complex.
I feel like I always say to women I speak to, unless you have, and maybe this is toxic advice, I don't know, but unless you have a job you love while you have small children, if he can support it, just don't work. Because what for? Like, who's a secretary you're going to be that's going to be life-changing? It's going to change your kids' lives for you to be home. If he can support it, stay home. Because I work because I love it. And sometimes I'm like, how did I get here? How did this happen? When you started your businesses, did you know you're going to have 3?
No.
What happened? How did you do this? Look at them.
Well, my brain. I started Krumbled Foods because I went through my own health journey, and I was pre-diabetic, and I couldn't find a healthy product range and a brand that I truly trusted. I was quite overweight, insulin resistant, pre-diabetic. And
how old are you at this point?
21 when I was diagnosed. 21.
And you were eating on the food pyramid, as in like
I was
all the
just
healthy breads and carbs and sugars.
Addicted to sugar.
I mean that in a quote.
It was, I had childhood trauma that then created some hectic PTSD. I binged ate, addicted to sugar. And then I had a really frank conversation with my doctor, and he's like, if you keep on going the way that you're going, you'll be diabetic and you'll have to be reliant on insulin. And it was a huge wake up to the point where I literally changed my whole entire life. I was in a long-term relationship at that time with my high school sweetheart. We had bought an apartment. I was in real estate. My life trajectory was made. And over a year, my whole life just pretty much was catatonic.
What made you change it? It's so hard to change.
I think that I knew that I was destined to do something else rather than be married in my early 20s and be in the relationship. There was nothing wrong with my partner. He was an absolute sweetheart, but I was not fulfilled. And I felt like there was this burning desire to just turn my life around.
Do you feel like sometimes you indulge in foods and eat? I know I fall in that pattern, or used to a lot, when you're trying to mask something.
I think that my relationship with sugar has evolved. And when I eat sugar, my mental health and my skin are not great. And we went out last weekend. We were celebrating. We were working at an expo, my partner and I. We were celebrating. We've just bought a factory.
I saw that.
Yeah. And
how insane.
It's just wild. And I was eating all of the dessert. And then literally 3 days later, my face just broke out. And I think for me, if I'm going to indulge, it's the food that I love cooking, because I love that.
You make incredible like lamb and things like that for your children. I see it.
I love cooking. It's my happy place.
Much. It's so beautiful. That's where I can actually slow down.
Yeah.
I went onto TikTok and there's this new thing called Skinny Talk, right? And it's a trend.
Yes.
Where they talk about, you can eat everything, but in moderation, basically calorie restriction. Hello, 90s.
Yeah.
But I found my happy place with food this is like a blanket term, but in a keto style diet, right?
Yeah.
So high fats, high proteins. I feel better. I have more energy. I was like locked in. I'm like, this makes me feel so good. And then I go on to Skinny Talk, not for the skinniness of it, but just the virality of it. And I'm looking at it. And I'm like, maybe I should eat some cookies and sugar. Do you know what I mean? People eat things.
Yeah.
I'm a normal person.
Yeah.
I'm going to go eat it. Do you know how shit I felt? Like a week later, I was like, this is not for me. I cannot sustain my life like this, because now I'm half asleep. My brain is logged off. It's gone somewhere. And when people talk to me about it, or they're like, oh, just eat this. I'm like, do you know what? No, because I'm treating myself now like an organism that needs things to function, as opposed to it's no longer indulgent for me. No.
And I think, don't get me wrong, I love, like, Easter's coming up and I'm not going to be restrictive. No. But it's just...
It's like alcohol. It's like at a price.
Yeah.
Like I know I'll be hungover.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
And I don't really drink that often. I just don't like that feeling of how that kind of thing makes me feel. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. Love to party in my early 20s. Once I like completely blew up my life, I turned to partying. And then I went on my journey of, okay, well, no, what I'm putting in my body is not right. And so my whole idea for a health food company started. And then it wasn't until really the past 3-4 years that the business has really soared. Once we launched Minnie and Me, which was our third brand, we turned over, we're an 8-figure business every year within 2 years.
Is it the Minnie and Me that did it?
Yeah.
Because there's such a space for it. There's such a need for it.
Yeah.
When you were sitting there, I always want to ask this question when I listen to these podcasts. So I'm thinking of Amanda, the girl who's listening, potentially, or Jessica.
Oh, I love these. I love how you...
Jessica. Listen, if you want to start a business. So you're sitting there, you're changing your life. You're like, these foods aren't good for me. What do you go on the computer? www.howtostartabusiness.com? ChatGPT didn't even exist.
It didn't even exist. Instagram was, it was... I mean, I love ChatGPT and AI. It's such a fundamental part of my life now. I just spent hours on YouTube. And I always knew, so I started hand rolling protein balls in my kitchen. And then a cafe was like, oh, we'd love to stock them. And then it just snowballed into 60 because I was just like, okay, this is going to be great.
What was in them? The ingredients that you thought this works?
It was just clean. They were just clean.
Yeah, okay.
And then I realized that I can't be rolling protein balls for the rest of my life and in a commercial kitchen, and I wanted to scale it up. And I guess my dad had his own business, so I saw the sacrifice actually more so. And I went into the business not really thinking that my life would be as intense as it is. But I always knew, okay, well, I want to make money and I want to help people.
Yeah, same.
And then, we launched the range and it failed. So a little bit after.
What were they called?
Crumbles. Yeah.
Why did they fail?
So my partner and I at the time, so I met my partner and then he's like, you need to follow this. Like, you need to do this. This is great. And he really pushed me to like have the confidence in what I was doing, because for so long I thought I needed other people to tell me what to do. And that was part of why we failed. I thought that I needed other people to sell my product into the retailers and sell my product into distributors. And we just took the wrong advice and we launched, and I just wasn't happy with the formulation. I wasn't happy with the guidance that we were getting. And then the numbers were never right. It was just never right. And then pretty much pulled it, lost money, not too much, but lost money. And then I saw Beauty Bites. I came up with this idea. I was taking collagen and vitamins and my probiotics. I was looking what everything else was happening in the US about what they were doing. And I was like, why wouldn't I just have it in a food product?
Because you always want a snack, not you, but we all want a snack,
Yeah.
right? And you don't want to take vitamins and pills, and they're always trying to make them digestible and yummy.
Yeah.
And it's like, hello.
Yeah. So we spent a long time trying to get them right. They are amazing. They're so
Like
delicious.
the idea of having it as a treat.
Yeah.
It just blows my mind.
With low sugar.
I know.
Yeah.
It's insane.
And so I don't know. I guess I never thought it was going to be as big as it is. And Krumbled is probably, it's coming back to life now that we've got our own manufacturing facility.
So
and then we're moving into a new one soon. That's going to be a huge
I think
process.
that precipice of you doing Crumbles and then Beauty Bites, that in between is where most people stop.
Absolutely.
What
Yeah.
made you say, no, I'm going?
Ego.
Yeah.
If I'll be fully honest, it was
Yeah.
ego. I didn't want to be seen as a failure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good though.
Mm.
Sometimes it's there for a reason. Like every organ in your body's there for a reason. I mean, I did all kinds of YouTube, acting, whatever it was, until I got to it. It's like the dots need to connect.
Absolutely. And you learn. I learned so much of what not to do.
And you know, the lesson is like just be yourself at the end. You said you took advice.
Yeah.
I tried to be like put together and wear the right clothes. I wear black every day now because I realize the strength is in like my mind and how I talk. Other people's how they present themselves.
Yeah.
Other people's this.
Yeah.
Trying to be someone else's. And I feel like feminine-led businesses, your strength is intuition, right?
Absolutely. It is such, when I don't listen to that gut instinct, it just doesn't work.
And the more you listen, the louder it gets, right?
Absolutely.
Is that the same with you?
Yeah.
So you do the Beauty Bites. Then how do you move on to the second business? You're like, this is not enough.
So Habitual Beauty,
Yeah.
the skincare range, was, once Krumbled Foods was up and running, Beauty Bites, we went into Priceline to launch. I flew down so many times to that Priceline office, having meetings with people that weren't even the right people. And they were like, come back with more. This is great. Keep on going. And they were so supportive and so lovely. And then went down to Coles and pretty much got the listing then and there at Coles. It was just incredible.
Seeing your product there. So cool.
It was so cool. We're no longer with Coles anymore, but you know, we're all about online now.
Yeah. Which works better. It's accessible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And less.
Just order at home.
Yeah. Yeah. Then I went on my fertility journey. I was desperate to become a mom.
Were you still with the same partner?
Yeah. Yeah.
Can I ask you, how has it affected the fact that you're the driver of this business?
He owns a business with me now.
He owns a business with you now?
Yeah.
How did that story, how do you feel in that?
It was rocky. We're very fiery people and we have very strong opinions. And at the start, we were trying to do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And my brain is incredibly creative.
Mm-hmm.
And I make my decisions based on intuition and numbers
Mm-hmm.
and stats. That's just who I am in terms of implementation. I'm not an implementer. I have these ideas and I struggle to, get it across the line and actually do things, which I've noticed more since becoming a mum. And it was really rocky and really hard. And we are very, not volatile, I wouldn't say volatile, but we have heated discussions all the time because he now runs the factory and the manufacturing side of things and I run the marketing and the sales.
Was that hard to let go of that part?
No.
Was it good?
He's a genius.
Yeah.
He is his background is not in food manufacturing, but he's just picked it up and he's so skilled. And we have people that are ex-Mars people now, Mars bars people, and they're just blown away with how much he knows about these machineries because, again, he just sits on YouTube learning, and that's how we've learned. And I have this complex feeling about people coming to me and asking me for advice and for tips and for contacts.
I bet they do a lot, huh?
Yeah. And for so long, I would get frustrated when people were asking me. And I think I had to take a step back and realize, well, it's because I didn't have anyone to do that.
Yes.
And I think there's a right way of going around and doing it. But Yeah.
People ask me, how do you write a book and start a podcast? Just within one sentence.
Yeah.
I'm like, dilute that question down.
And they
As
probably
in
don't
which
even follow you.
microphone? Yeah.
Yeah.
Or where or who or how did you start or concept or which part? Would you want me to give you like a book, a thesis on how to do it all and context? It's so abstract. Do you know why it annoys me? It doesn't really annoy me, but why it irks me a little bit is because there isn't enough thought in that question.
No. That's
You're
right.
just throwing things out.
Yeah.
And I'm a person who's very intentional. So I'll give you a long answer and really put time in
Yeah.
and they'll be like, oh, okay, thanks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, do you really want to do this?
Yeah. It's really hard. And I feel guilty for saying that because these are young, aspirational people. But then I'm like, you have so many resources now, especially with the way that the world is.
Literally ask our friend ChatGPT on the phone over there. Like, he's not always correct and he won't give you a formula, but if you ask the right question, you will find the right resources, the right answers. You have time as well. Us here with our 500 children and businesses and everything, like you're not very movable. You know?
No.
Well, you can, go anywhere, ask any questions, do anything. So I fully 100% understand. And you keeping it in with is he still your boyfriend or your husband?
Oh, well, it's funny. It's very ironic that 11 years in and I'm speaking to the queen of why hasn't he put a ring on it and we don't have a ring on it.
Listen.
We put everything back in the business.
No, I get that.
I mean, we haven't taken a wage and that is probably an excuse I'm giving him, but we will.
No, it's very simple. He already has everything he wants.
Oh, that's it.
That's not a bad thing. It's not a good thing, but men only, like male producer here, rise to the standards that.
Absolutely.
And you know what? A ring isn't everything.
Yeah, but it is to me.
If it is to you, that's it. I'm going to tell you after this podcast what to do.
Yeah, thanks. Come back to it.
Just take away everything. Nothing else. You have nothing in your life. You're sleeping outside.
Yeah.
No, it's an interesting thing because I guess men used to propose and used to give rings in order to get your time and to live with you. Like there was no way around it. Now you're with them, having their children, business set up. So it's like, no matter how much of a good guy he is, it's not, incentive is not there.
Yeah. And so
I get it.
We went on this big fertility journey. I have had 10 pregnancies and 2 living babies. I mean, my journey has been...
Oh, I just got goosebumps.
And
not only do you have that, but you have HG.
Yeah.
Do you have it in every pregnancy?
Yeah. Well, it's funny. It didn't become apparent to me what it was until I had it with my son because that was the first pregnancy I went to term with. And so recently, last year, we ended up doing IVF. And last year we had a non-IVF baby, biggest surprise in the world. And
your daughter?
No. I had a loss. Yeah.
Yes.
And the HG was so awful. It was just,
But that was the biggest factor in after you knew that you have Hyperemesis gravidarum, which sounds like Harry Potter, but it's not funny at all. Both of us have it, and there are several resources on my channel if you want to watch it about it. You can, but it's basically. If we were in the medieval ages, we would have died.
Absolutely.
With dehydration. And so do you want to say how it manifested for you, like how it felt and what it was?
So with my son, it was during COVID and it was nowhere near as bad as my daughter. So my daughter, I was throwing up 30 to 40 times a day. I tore my esophagus. I was coughing up blood and throwing up blood because I'd given birth. My pelvic floor was a shit house and I would wet myself. So I'd have to sit on the toilet with a bucket majority of the time and fainting, passing out. I went to hospital for passing out and hitting my head. It is the darkest.
It's so dark.
I was suicidal. I wanted to terminate her. And for someone that had an IVF baby to say that you wanted to terminate your child multiple times and then also say that it was just not worth living, it's really dark. And when I fell pregnant with the last baby, it became very apparent that I had not processed the trauma. And I am desperate for another kid, desperate. But I have to I have to go and set the businesses up to the point where I can actually take 9 months off while I'm pregnant, not for my postpartum period. I've never had maternity leave. I've had 2 weeks of maternity leave, if that. And it's just, you feel robbed.
Of any maternal experience. And you also now are aware that you've got 2 little children. We're going to have to watch
the intense grief of missing your kid's life.
Oh,
I look at my son from the day that I was pregnant, even when I was doing IVF. So I had endosurgery. I then did IVF. So there was already 2 months before I even fell pregnant of shit that my headspace wasn't there. And then 37 weeks with my daughter of watching this little boy back through my camera roll growing up while mummy was on the couch. We were also setting up our business. So my partner was trying to make our business actually stay afloat. We went through a significant hardship with financial issues. When we set up the factory, we pretty much invested millions of dollars into the business, all of our life savings into it. And I don't think we knew how unwell I would get with my daughter. So with my son, I was vomiting 7 to 10 times a day, but functioning. COVID time. So you're functioning at home. It wasn't needing to show up. Around. No other children. And so I could sleep in and I could just do anything. And it is honestly the darkest experience. And I have some very hectic childhood trauma that I've never publicly spoken about, that when you would look at it, you go, well, that far outweighs HG, but absolutely not.
Yeah, I can 100%.
I know you can. I can see it in your eyes.
And it's almost like when you see people, like you just said, you can see it in your eyes. It's like a horror experience. It's just constantly you dehumanize. You're lying on the floor. You're throwing up. I remember just rocking in bed and being like, the feeling doesn't pass. Recently, a woman committed suicide, like you said, and people would not understand unless they've been through it because, take some ginger.
Yeah. When I fell pregnant last year, I told my best friend and she's like, I can't lose you.
Yeah.
And that was her first response. I can't lose you. You can't do this. You're not ready.
Yeah.
Her first response.
What makes us do it though?
Because the babies are delicious.
Yeah, I know. It's magic, isn't it?
It is just being a mother, put the business aside. Being a mother is my greatest life achievement.
100%. When people talk to me, younger women like 28, 29, that I don't know if I want kids, kind of do. And I'm like, I don't know if it's worth it. I'm like, you should know by the fact that I do it despite having HG, how magical it is. And I'm not saying it's for everybody. It's not for everybody.
No.
But it is like a life-altering experience. It's like taking LSD or something. I've never taken it, but you know what I mean? When people say that it just alters their brain.
Yeah. Well, literally it changes your chemistry. What? Yeah.
Who are you?
It's just, and watching them evolve into these little humans. My son's just had a huge growth spurt and I'm like, who are you? You're a little boy now.
Yeah,
You're
like a teenager.
Yeah, it's just wild. And just the things that he says. And I mean, my daughter is an absolute firecracker. And
I've realized women are obviously not superior in a horrible way, but just like they're so advanced.
Oh
quicker.
My goodness.
Men catch up later. But I'm like, I can see you already judging me with your 2-year-old
absolutely.
self.
Absolutely. She's going through a good biting stage at the moment. When she doesn't get her way, I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah, I'm scared.
And mum's like, this is you. This was you. I didn't bite, but I was very sassy. So yeah, it's just wild.
How would your life change if you had a third one?
Well, it's the planning. The business is not in the spot where I could take time off.
Being so sick for 9 months
and I think what makes it even worse is the anxiety of not being able to function because you get the physical manifestation of the sickness and then the mental shit show that goes on. And for me, if I knew I had things to do at work right now, I just can't be there. But I think the trajectory that we're on in the next 2 years, I'll be ready. But to have a third, I would feel more complete.
It's such an interesting thing. I don't know if I'm going to have 3 or 2.
Yeah.
Only because often I solo parent.
Yeah.
Simon's a great person. He's a great dad, but he is off with the Eagles somewhere doing whatever. He's a free bird.
Yeah.
And I could make him stay, but that is not, he likes to do projects. He's renovating our house. He's doing a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm like 2 kids.
The solo parenting
business, like it's mad.
It's a lot, and it's something I do a lot because
I see it on your Instagram
all the time.
When you're like, I'm putting them both down tonight. Again, people don't realize what a juggle that is. One wakes up, another one wakes up. What is a day in your life typically? Because I want to pivot to when we say have it all, a business and motherhood, we've got no idea what we're talking about. It sounds very nice because you're like, I've achieved both. Tick. What is your typical day?
Well, I just want to address that because I have a lot of people that have possibly come across who I am recently, and they don't see the journey that it's taken for me to build the businesses up to where they are. And I think a lot of them do think that, oh, it's been an overnight success and it's been really easy for her, when in fact it hasn't at all. And I think it's hard for me to be like, start your business, have kids. It's amazing, because it's fucking not. It's really hard. Don't get me wrong. I feel like I'm in a great spot in terms of the business and where it is and the growth trajectory, but it's so hard. Some mornings I leave before the kids wake up. I get to work. I'm fixated on, I'm not a present parent. I'm not there. My mind is not at work when I try and leave early so I can get more things done. Because at the moment, time is the one thing that I really struggle with. I do not have enough time in the day. And I'll work all day. I'll leave at 4 because we have a nanny. My son does go to daycare a few days a week, and she leaves by 5, So I have to get home. It takes 45 minutes for me to get home. And then I most often or not do playtime, bath time, bedtime, solo, and then need to put on dinner, and then I'll do more work. I haven't had a family holiday since my son was born. 4.5 years. It's a lot. And I see,
Same.
yeah.
So we have a lot in common in terms of like work and experience. It's very strange. And people say, "When's your holiday? When are you going away next?" I'm like, I cannot add more to my plate,
Yep. And then people are like, "Why wouldn't you go away on your own?" I'm like, because I don't see my children during the week, and I miss them so much.
Girls trip. I have a few dinners now and then. And I'm like, I have to be home by 8 maximum. I cannot go out. I'm just so locked in. At the same time, it's kind of addictive though.
Yeah.
Like feeling like the two things you're doing are so important that I find it hard to even like meet up with friends.
Me too.
Like this conversation, not this one. This one is very important for people and everything. But any conversation where I'm sitting with a friend just having coffee and she's telling me, "Oh yeah, the window cleaner," I'm like,
I could be working or I could be with my kids.
Yeah. Isn't that bad?
Yeah. And I think that's one thing that I have had to be pretty clear with my close group of friends. I have one friend that gets it. She's the exact same. She has her own business and we speak every day, and that's our form of communication and that's how we, fill up our cups. I have some friends that love our friendship so much that they need that physical connection, and I can't give it to them right now because I am working so hard to build the business up to be, $100 million business, that my sacrifices mean something. And I don't know if they truly understand that at the end of the week, I couldn't think of anything worse than going down to Sydney and leaving my babies, because I then have guilt that just builds up.
And fatigue.
I mean, my daughter was up for 3-4 hours last night.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Mummy has a big day tomorrow." Why are you doing this? But it's so hard, and the juggle is so real, but I love it. It is. Yeah.
Isn't that the paradox of having HG and wanting a third, or having this business and just being like, I sometimes wake up and I'm like, why am I running a business? I would just like to sit here and roast something.
But you wouldn't.
I wouldn't. Exactly.
Yeah.
So when women ask me for advice, what is that piece of advice that we would give? Like, just do it and
do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Whatever your burning desire is. My mum was a stay-at-home mum with 4 beautiful children. And that filled her cup up. She was, that was who she was. And that's what she wanted to do. And for me, this is what I want to do. And I'm now at the point where I just want to help people. That is, at the end of the day, I mean, my team always tell me, because we donate a lot of money to charities and causes, and my team say to me all the time, "You need to talk about it. Why aren't you talking about it? You need to tell people that this is what you do." And I'm like, "But I don't need to talk about it." But I think it's important to understand that everything I'm doing, obviously, sure, yeah, I'd love to create generational wealth for my children and show them that if their mum wants to be a CEO of 3 businesses, she can.
Mhm.
But I think it's important to do whatever the burning desire is in that woman.
Yeah.
And I think for so long we're told that we need to do one thing, and that's not right.
You realize all your businesses are built through a struggle you've had, and therefore you can help people through it.
Yeah.
Like I drank Hydromama because I could drink nothing. I could not drink water when I had hyperemesis.
Yeah.
Weirdest concept. You drink, you throw it up.
Yeah.
Straight away.
Yeah.
So the only thing I could potentially drink 6 months in was Coca-Cola. Wow. That's not great, is it?
No.
So then I ordered Hydromama and it actually stayed down.
Yeah.
How did you come up with that? How did you formulate that?
I knew
whilst lying there on the floor in the toilet?
Well, it's my
Yeah.
brain that doesn't switch off.
Yeah.
So it was this idea that I was told so many people at the hospital to drink electrolyte drinks that were in the chemist and all your sports drinks that were fluoro with artificial colors. Our coloring is all natural. Yes, it's bright because people drink and eat with their eyes and taste with their eyes. But I just knew that what I was putting in was not great. And I just knew that I had an idea. And
Find
I knew
something that is digestible, but good for you.
Yeah, and even if it's not going to cure ADHD, it's not going to cure morning sickness, but there's ways of incorporating ingredients. And it's funny because the majority of, we've sold to hundreds of thousands of people in 2 years.
Yeah.
And the majority are amazing reviews, but you do get the, the one or two, this made my morning sickness worse. Well, yes, sometimes you're sick.
Yeah.
Drinking something's not going to make it feel better. But then the majority of people are like, it's making me feel so much better. But it's not just for pregnant women. And that's the thing.
That's why I'm so excited I'm going to go drink this, because I have kids also who can drink it. You told me? Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
80% of the population are dehydrated.
Yeah.
So 50% of our customers aren't pregnant or breastfeeding. They're just burnt out humans. So things like fatigue and headaches and gastro, they're all things that you need electrolytes for, but there's a lot of companies out there that taste awful or that just try and jump on a bandwagon and change their whole story to market it because they're seeing other people having success.
And then you did a skincare line because you weren't sure what you could put on your skin, is that right?
Yeah, so Habitual Beauty came before Minnie and Me.
Yeah.
When I was doing IVF, I had embryologists and my fertility specialist say, well, what are you putting on your skin? What are you putting on in your household? What are you cleaning with?
Did they really ask you that?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
You're not allowed to wear perfume when you go and get your egg collection.
Wow.
And so that was a big moment for me going, maybe this could have something to do with the whole picture. And I, have a few issues that caused me to need to do IVF.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just a big wake up. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll go switch to a natural, clean beauty brand. And my skin just was not great.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I'll do it myself.
I'll do it myself.
And then
oh my God, you're going to have a fourth business, aren't you?
Oh, I have 2 other businesses that we want to start.
Are they from Pain Points as well? Or are they just, is there any that is just like, I don't know?
Nope.
Are you allowed to say what they're around?
No.
Based around? No, around. Oh, damn it. It's so interesting because I spent so long Googling ingredients from skincare while pregnant. And I was like, why is there not a database or a dedicated skincare line or something? It is so annoying. And you are people who've done IVF. I didn't do it, but I lost 2 pregnancies before I had Leo and they were up to 4 or 5 months of hyperemesis, doing hyperemesis for that.
Which is can we just address how cruel that is?
Yeah.
And how incredible you are that
Thank you.
Yeah.
You too.
It's just
like to do it. It's the feeling of miscarriage is heartbreaking. The feeling of miscarriage and hyperemesis is just like doing the hardest thing you'll ever do. So my pregnancy with Leo, I've clearly disassociated because I don't lock in until I was pregnant again with my daughter, and then I could feel it again with that PTSD, right? But right now I talk about it like I'm talking about someone else.
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that's how you move
Yeah.
through it, right? And the whole pregnancy with him, I could not be excited. I could not be, obviously I was very, very sick and almost dying and on a drip every 3 days. But also I was not like, yay, well, at least this is for something because it's going to be a baby. I was like, maybe not. Even at the end, I went to have a C-section and everyone's like, natural's best. And I'm like, I'm getting him out alive. I do not care what is best. You can get it out of my eyeball, from my ear. I don't care. Like the outcome of scar, no scar, C-section, no C-section. I was just like, I want the result now.
And you wanted that end date.
Yeah. I wanted the finish and the end date. But you did natural, didn't you?
So vaginal.
Yeah.
Birth is natural.
Yeah, all birth is natural. Get it out of anywhere. Yeah.
So my son, my waters broke at 36 weeks. Yeah. Biggest shock of my life because we hadn't launched Habitual Beauty yet because I was selected part of a Sephora Accelerator program, which was female founders across the world.
Yeah.
Then COVID happened, so I couldn't go over to San Francisco. But I was meant to launch Habitual Beauty and then go off and have my maternity leave. And so my waters broke and I went into the hospital and then they stalled. So we ended up doing an induction and he came out not breathing and then had to do in special care. And it's funny because I completely disassociated with who he is. And for a good week, I'd be like, oh, the baby.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't connect. And I think I felt guilty because I was so miserable with Hunter's pregnancy that I felt like I had to show up to the infertility community and the fertility community because I was, finally have my rainbow baby, but I was so miserable. And then I think I spoke around like the 25-week mark and I was like, yeah, I'm still vomiting, up to 10 times a day and I'm not great. I feel really awful. And the girl that owns Hyperemesis Australia, the charity, she's like, I think you have hyperemesis ADHD. I was like, oh, okay. And then I think that at that moment I was like,
Did
I
that
can allow
diagnosis
myself.
help you?
I think it allowed me to realize that it wasn't just morning sickness and that it was pretty severe. And I think it allowed me to prepare for the next baby.
I remember someone saying to me when I was really sick with Leo, oh, when I was pregnant, it was an older person. I just got on with it. I didn't have time to be sick all the time.
Yeah. Wild.
Wild. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Did you get people saying that, especially coming from the IVF community? Were they like, be grateful?
No. And I think that's because I didn't speak about it for so long. I think with my daughter's pregnancy, I pretty much went dark and it was the only time I'd post was like, I'm still here. I'm okay kind of thing. But you get so much advice and I know everyone's intentions are really pure for the most part, but it's not helpful. And it makes you feel, someone said the other day, oh, I had it with my son, but not my daughter. I had it with my first one, but not the second one. I'm like, that's amazing, but I don't know that really actually, I don't even know if that's.
I think it happens in all pregnancies once you have it, no?
I think so. And I don't want to say that it is or it isn't.
I think it's genetic. Must be.
Well, they've found out the hormone and the gene hormone.
Yeah. My mum had it. Did your mum have it?
No.
Lucky her.
No. My mother.
So you must have got it from your dad.
Well, I compared my mother's not births, but pregnancies and how easy she fell pregnant. She had 2 IUD babies with my brothers. I was like, oh, I'll fall pregnant easily. She was sick for like 15 weeks. It'll be over. So I think, comparison is
going through IVF. I want to ask you because it's such a hard thing. I've got a few friends doing it. What's the wrong thing to say? What's the right thing to say? I know that's a big question. But
I think you just asking that question is the right thing to do. I think it's just being there and not really saying much and not having expectations for them to show up and message you. I think having the expectations to just say, hey, I'm going to support you and I'm going to send you messages to saying I'm thinking of you. You don't ever have to respond. And it's not about you.
No.
It's about them going through the process. And
it's a thin line to walk between when they're like, I'm just going to give up, to say, no, don't give up. Or yes, go ahead, give up. or whatever you want to do, I'm here.
Yeah.
But you don't want to be like this plankton who says nothing because you feel the person wants an interaction from you.
Yeah.
And you just don't want to get it wrong because it's so. I remember how everything that was said to me while I had HG, which is different, but I also had the two miscarriages
You did.
before.
Yeah.
So
I think things like just delete your app and stop trying and it will happen. That kind of stuff, not helpful at all.
Mm-hmm. Or be less stressed.
Be less stressed. I'm
Okay.
sorry, being infertile and going through fertility treatments and having needles put into you every single
It's a lot
bloody
stressful,
day.
yeah.
It's the most stressful thing. And the thing that is stressing you the most is the fact that you're not pregnant.
Yeah.
And my world for a good 2-3 years was just about me having a baby and trying to have a baby. I would break down in the supermarkets. I would, seeing another pregnant woman.
Mm-hmm.
I would be triggered by so many pregnancy announcements. I think pregnancy announcements are something that we all need to address as a whole society because while you may not have had a challenge, 1 in 4 women is going to go through fertility challenges and miscarriage. It is so sad and so heartbreaking. So if you're like, whoops, did it again. Oh, surprise pregnancy. Yes, that's amazing. That's so great. But I think you need to be conscious about what you put out into the universe because I guarantee you would be upsetting one person and not intentionally.
And not intentionally, but also when people say nobody's asking them, they're like, on our first try, who needs that information?
No.
Do you know what I mean? It's almost like when people show off about their kid's intelligence for no reason randomly. It's like, it's not you who's smart, it's your kid. Relax.
Yeah.
It doesn't give you any merits, but I know you're proud.
Yeah.
But tone it down. I get it.
And I think it's this empathy that I've always had instilled in me, but I think it's this understanding of my journey has made me so much more empathetic because I wouldn't have known if I had fallen pregnant straight away. I would have done that. And I think it's about listening to these conversations, but then also not going, I'm thinking about anyone in the trenches of fertility because then it was like, well, you didn't have that. So it's just knowing, just to be mindful. I don't know.
It's interesting. My mom comes from a different time, obviously in a different culture. When she sees baby announcement, gender reveals or anything, she's like, why are people doing that? I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, but just have your kid. Like, why are you like tell your friends you're excited, but why are you doing it on media? Like, it's not like the president's coming. Like, what's happening?
Yeah.
I'm like, kind of true. Why is it so?
Oh, because it's such
others?
A celebration.
Celebrate with your people at home.
Yeah, that is true.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I had it all. I had the gender reveal. I
did too.
Yeah.
But when my mum was talking to me about it, she's like, why are you doing that? And it kind of made me reflect. It's like a cultural thing we do.
Yeah.
And it's not always necessary. To finish, I want to say, women who are sitting there right now and they want the babies and they want the business and they want it all. Do you think it's possible?
It is.
Yeah. It
really is. And I was listening to a podcast with Ellen Pompeo. I don't know if you heard the little snippet about how she says that, you change when you become a mother and you can't actually do it all in 100% capacity, but you can still do it.
I'm doing it better than I was without kids because I have a reason.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And the way you just said, I want $100 million business because I want to leave it for my kids and have a legacy. That was not the Kiera pre-kids.
Absolutely not.
You were like, I did it for ego. You said those 2 statements today. So legacy and children and doing it for someone wins, even for men when they do it, when they have children and they have something to do. Like in sport, they perform better. CEOs perform better when they have children because it's for someone.
Yeah.
Do you have a village? Do you have a support network?
I do. My mum recently moved up from Sydney to the coast to support because she's like, I can't let you do another pregnancy like that alone.
Yeah.
And just that in itself is just amazing. And we have an incredible nanny that I could not do it without her.
Yeah.
And she literally runs my house when I'm not there. And I'm so thankful for her.
She's your wife.
She is my housewife. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you heard of that? We all need wives as opposed to like nannies and all these things. I'm like, where do I find a wife?
Yeah. She is just so incredible. And I guess the biggest thing is that I don't physically be able to connect as much as I'd like to. But for me, I don't need that physical connection. It's more about how can I have that support in the way that I need it?
And do you feel you being so, not dominant is not the right word, but so prevalent in business and everything that it affects your relationship? Do you think if you were more like a mumsy stay-at-home mum, it would be different?
No, I think...
Because women worry that if they're too successful, men won't like them. I know that's weird.
Yeah, I think if it was the opposite, it probably wouldn't work. I think for him, he sees how passionate and how happy it makes me. And for me, that's what I want to do. And I think, I mean, it'll be interesting to see when I build the business up to the point where I can have another baby and try and take maternity leave. It'll be interesting for him to be able to try and respect that a little bit and actually try not to talk about work when I want to have that baby bubble, which I never have because I was riddled with postpartum depression with my daughter. And it'll be interesting to see because his brain does not switch off at all. But no, I think for us...
I love to talk about business with my husband. I love to talk about we're doing properties and renovations.
It's the best.
If we don't talk about that or our kids, it's not like we don't have anything to talk about, but I'm like, can we just talk about the interesting stuff now, please? Like, I don't want to talk about holidays? Like, I don't know. What do people talk about?
Yeah. I don't know because we definitely, it's all we talk about. And, maybe sure when the kids are grown up and they're not our entire world, but that will never happen because they're always going to live with me. But
I know they will.
Absolutely.
Of course, where are they going to go?
Yeah, never.
I want to ask you one last thing because I keep wanting to end it, not wanting to end it, but I feel like this is a resource. How are we dealing with our HG trauma? What are we going to do? Is there therapists? What have you found?
I tried therapy during HG, did not work. It will be different to see with my therapist now that I found because she has had HG and she gets it. But people that have never experienced it will not understand. There's amazing Facebook community, the Hyperemesis Australia charity group on Facebook. It's incredible. They also have an Instagram, finding the right healthcare provider.
Why do you think it affected you so darkly? Because you're helpless? You said you had a trauma when you were younger and it affected you more.
Absolutely, because it was complex.
Yeah.
Every single day.
Yeah.
Every single day you were living with being incapacitated, throwing up.
Almost from your own doing because this is something you wanted. And the guilt of having a child there already. I've done this because I wanted it. Thank you so much for coming. And can you tell people where they can find you, how they can interact with you?
My Instagram, Rumble, Krumble, or Kiera.Rumble on TikTok.
Amazing.
You'll find all the links to these brands.
And where can they buy Habitual Beauty?
We're in Adore Beauty and online at the moment.
Love it.
Yeah.
And can I give my kids the bites?
You sure can.
Love it. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, honey.